What's going on, Imperials? It's Emperor Cubone here. The newest games, Sword and Shield, are filled to the brim with Pokémon. However, most of them are not new. Although the Galar Dex is slightly larger than the past few generations. But as I've said before, my personal preference is to use brand new Pokémon in their debut games, instead of recycling old ones. So let's look at the crop of new Pokémon provided in Gen 8 to make us a team. Now, for anyone that's actually taken the time to watch my whole playthrough of the games, I can't say that you'll be shocked, but you might be surprised, so stick around. As with any journey, we'll begin with the starters. Now, I will say, this is probably the first generation that I didn't absolutely love one of the final evolutions for the starters. Normally, there's at least one that I would have on a team even if they weren't starters, but not so much this time. Obviously, I did feel this draw with Grookey in the first stages. It's incredibly adorable, and its happy-go-lucky personality didn't grate on me quite as much as the other two. I wasn't quite prepared for the cave monkey that was Thwacky, but it did grow on me, and I definitely like it way better than the other two middle stages. Rillaboom was a bit of a departure, but again, it did turn out to be my favorite of the three. This giant grassy gorilla was a thrill to use, as it was a hugely powerful physical attacker that could bash opponents with its tree trunk-sized arms, or simply with its stump of a bass drum. There also surprisingly seems to be an increased usefulness in the grass type across the Galar region. It might just be me, but Rillaboom seems to be a stalwart answer to many opponents you might face. And with the wide array of possible moves, it comes out to be a pretty solid base on which to build the team. Next is a Pokémon that I was fascinated by ever since the early trailers for the games, when they first revealed Dreadnought. Immediately I was enticed by this rough and jagged turtle, and thought to myself I'll probably use it unless some other better water types come along. And well, they didn't really, so Dreadnought is the one for me. I've seen some complaints about its pre-evolution, Choodle, and that's fair because it's not that great. But once it evolves and gains the rock typing, it becomes a powerhouse, sporting great attack and decent speed for a turtle. It's got a brilliant color scheme to complement its threatening design. But besides the cool factor, there is a certain amount of pride involved, since it's stated that it takes a talented trainer to wrangle this treacherous Pokémon. And with a signature move like Jaw Lock to trap opponents, that can be boosted by the Strong Jaw ability, it's not hard to see why some people out there might be intimidated by this serrated shellhead. Next, one might anticipate the inclusion of a Rookidee. However, I didn't actually end up keeping one around. I didn't need it for flight, and honestly, I probably would have kept it if it had remained a pure flying type. Not that flying in steel is bad, I've just seen it before, and I would have been much more inclined to try something unique. Instead, I opted for a different early game staple in Roly-Coly. Another one that was introduced before the games, this little ball of coal became more intriguing to me every time I saw it. The new steam engine ability was especially interesting to me. And while I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to use one for the whole game, I knew it was worth a shot. Now luckily I was able to avoid spoilers before the games came out, so soon after Roly-Coly joined, I was treated to it evolving into Carkol, and gaining the fire typing, making it even more versatile. And with Steam Engine, along with access to Flame Charge and the newly buffed Rapid Spin, there's no shortage of ways to pick up speed. And then it evolved once again into Colossal, and it merely cemented that I had made the right decision. Now, Colossal is highly defensive, and has equal footing in physical versus special attack. Pair that with the other coverage it gets along with the abundance of fire, rock, and ground moves, and Colossal truly does put a new spin on what easily could have been just another boring boulder. Now, as I said, I was able to avoid spoilers for the full Pokédex, so when I saw Toxel, I didn't quite know what to make of it. I wasn't crazy about the whole baby aspect of it, but I was captivated by its typing. Electric and Poison is an extremely unique combination, one that I had long thought would be good, but one that I never thought they'd actually do. So once Toxel got a little less useless and evolved, Toxtricity became a prime member of the team. Being able to use attacks that can poison or paralyze the opponent is great fun, and allows for tremendous flexibility. Electric and Poison as a pairing is great, because it only maintains 2 weaknesses, but gains 8 resistances at almost no additional cost. Toxtricity itself also has the Punk Rock ability that gives it mastery over sound-based moves as well, essentially being a third type with no drawbacks either. I don't know how they could even try and make this specific combination again in the future, but Toxtricity certainly makes the most of 2 disparate types, using its high special attack to secure a slot on the All-Star team. The first time I saw Cufant was in the introduction video of the game. I thought it might be a fire type or a ground type, but I was interested in seeing what it was all about. Being a pure steel type, it was obviously able to bolster the team by adding a host of resistances. But once it reached level 34 and became a Copperaja, I knew it wasn't going anywhere. This heavy metal elephant is one of the coolest designs in a long time, with the oxidized copper coloring as the main component, giving it a firmly distinct look from most all other steel types. Not to mention the brilliance of its classification being the Copper Derm Pokémon, perfectly exemplifying what it is. Did we need another massive physical attacker on the team? Maybe not, but it certainly didn't hurt to have Sheer Force either, making Copperaja useful in many situations, like learning Play Rough in the middle of a Dark-type gym. Copperaja was a missing piece I never knew I needed to help fill out the team to perfection. Now here's where things may start to differ, because in my actual run-through of the game, I used an Orbeetle. I just picked up a Blipbug at the start and was curious as to what it might become, and when it evolved into Dottler, I was quite charmed by the little Raydome Pokémon. I thoroughly enjoyed the middle stage, but it stayed around so long that by the time it actually got to be an Orbeetle, I just had to keep it around for convenience. And the Psychic Bug really did help the fact that half the team was weak to fighting. However, I don't think Orbeetle will make the cut for my ideal team of the region. Maybe if it looked more like its Gigantamax form? I really like that UFO look. And all the other Pokemon I've picked so far are capable of Gigantamaxing, but Orbeetle's is the only one that I think should have been used for its regular design. Instead, I'll go with another bug type in Frostmoth. As I said before, the reason I didn't use it at the time is for convenience, as it wasn't available until the later game, and it would have taken far too long to get the required level of happiness for it to evolve. So on my own time I got Frostmoth to fill out the Pokédex, but in doing so, I kept it around and grew to appreciate this icy insect. There are some fragility concerns, but additional flying and fairy support make Frostmoth more than just a special attacking stab spammer. Plus, having either Shield Dust or their hidden ability, Ice Scales, means that it's able to counter those lower defenses and natural weaknesses to become a respectable member of the crew. I suppose Orbeetle will have to wait for the secondary team of the region. But unfortunately, that is a downside of the upcoming expansion pass. Since it will be a continuation of the same story rather than a restart, there will be no chance to try out a different team from scratch. I was very much looking forward to seeing how other Pokemon would work together in the Galar region. I suppose you can always do that on your own time, but there's nothing like building your team from the ground up. And to me, there's no better makeup in the Galar region than this one. So, those are the Pokemon that make up my ideal team for Gen 8. What are your favorite Pokemon in Sword and Shield? Let me know down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!